I'm sorry if you feel like my the way I'm sorry if my stream is making you look bad.
Their Clips channel is, and then Andy Warski's personal channel.
Okay. So it seems like you want me to have my channel terminated by having them on, because I feel like that's the
I'd be willing to look up right now whether a terminated person is allowed to just make an appearance on another person's stream. I'd be willing to bet, but that's not what the TOS says.
I shouldn't be forced to have, I
don't think it's a matter of force. I'm telling you that it's a good idea. I'm telling you that like putting it off, it's not smart right now.
I'm sorry if like I explained to you on the phone.
So I have a question. What would you have done differently? Genuine question. I think people want to know.
If I knew everything today, that if I could go back in time, you're saying?
Yeah. How would you have handled it? Because you said you don't regret having Melonie on. So what would you have done?
A fair question. Lindsay, are you here to interrupt me, or do you want to listen?
Well, you have to pick a lane. If you can do the job, then do the job when you need to press someone about deplatforming, because otherwise it turns into this. And I think that needs to acknowledge instead of.
Okay, I'm sorry that you feel that way, Brittany. Again, like people can watch the show.
It just doesn't come across very genuine, because you're like, hey, Brittany, I'm sorry you feel that way. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Well, anyway, I'm not going to talk about how I lied. You're just
maybe
acting
I'll do a whole
like
separate. Maybe I'll do
a certain way
where I address.
Because to even take money from this in the first place, it's like it is counterproductive to the point of taking accountability, like profiting off of your mistakes. And many people have said this, not just me.
I'm sorry, Venti, if you felt like you were going to come on and then you didn't. Like you were all hyped to come on, and then
if I felt like, are you opposed to having the Kino Casino on?
No, I mean not tonight, because I have so many to go through. But maybe on a future stream.
In general, though?
Yeah, maybe on a future stream.
After conversion, you're still talking about your co-host boobs and why that makes her unfuckable. So excuse me, I'm not. It's just like we're not buying it, and everybody else, and she is directly covering for that, and she's saying, well, I don't have to comment. Like, maybe on some of this stuff, the network you're working with, like maybe you should have something to say about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry you feel hurt by that. I think it was just too late in the stream. I was trying to wrap it up. Hold on, let me not ignore the chat, because I did that last time. Kentucky Tim, thank you for the super chat. Brittany needs to mind her own business. Mel Biz is her own. Chrissie's is her own. Troublemaking middle schooler mentality by both Kim and Britt. Friends stand behind each other without pulling knives. Shame on both of you. Thank you, Tim.
Friends make sure that they keep each other not doing immoral things, and
friends hold each other accountable. So
and that's what Melonie hasn't done, for example, and that's why people are mad.
Why did you say Jesus supports flagging? I never said Jesus supports flagging. Why did you lie about not knowing the drama? Okay, again, I don't want to.
I think it'd be helpful.
And Minty, Chrissy, the problem is no one can get answers from Jeremy and Melonie. Exactly. And Melonie's sleeping for Jeremy. You were the first one to have Melonie on. I see that now. And the people demand answers from her. That's why you are here. Thank you. Yes, I see that very clearly now.
Well, no, that's not the full truth. It's because she's covering for deplatforming, and then Chrissy has her on, and then there's no pushback, and Chrissy knew that Jeremy was deplatforming. She says, well, I didn't know that it was connected, but she was informed about that. And so that's the point of contention.
And I know I was also
Camelot was also correct earlier when he said that pushing things off is only going to make it worse. So if people are like, if you even like just need them to talk, and I can mute myself too, I don't mind that. But like, if they're trying to like come on to talk to you, I think pushing it off is, if they're like, I don't think they're not going to be, I don't think they're going to be like really terrible to you. I think that it's going to be worse if you say now, like, let's not.
Brittany, if you're going to keep interrupting me, I don't see how that's productive. The chats, anti-cancel culture, Brittany Venti and Kino Casino need to understand this is not their channel. It's not Chrissy's job to defend them. It's not her job to do the homework you want her to do. It's not her job to cater to your chat invading her. Thank you, culture.
Well, it's her job to uphold free speech, and that's why we're having this conversation. And again, I didn't feel very respected when I felt pretty dismissed and like given non-apologies and called a bully for like simply saying the facts and saying, hey, well, you lied, and then it's like made out to be like I'm the one in the wrong, and I really don't appreciate it.
I feel like you've expressed that. That pile over there. Are you going to bring in the not tonight?
Yeah, in between super chats.
I don't think I'm going to have time tonight. Do you want me to ignore them? Is that what I should do? Because when I ignored the chat last time,
Chrissy, it's pretty. Well, here's the thing, Chrissy.
I think
this is why I said you should have just did the charity
maybe I'll
stream.
just do another.
And
anybody can, which I did do, was explain everything that was going on and to talk about the things that people had questions about. And I did that.
That's not accountability, Chrissy. That's just explaining it. Accountability is I did this. I'm sorry for this, and directly telling whoever the apology for that.
For having Melonie on to talk
Nobody
about.
asked you to do that. Please stop reframing it that way. I've corrected you multiple times on this.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Oh, what's up, Aaron? People should realize you have a 2-year-old and a husband and a private life. You obviously were taken aback by the chat reaction to Mac. I definitely was. And she should have alerted you. Yep. All this drama that has ensnared you is her fault, not yours. I fully support you. Thank you, Aaron.
I mean, I think a show of good faith right now is allowing the people who are actually deplatformed to say something. I'm saying that I'm just saying this as your friend. I'm saying this is like
soon I could do something with them. Just like,
well, I mean, if I were them, I would feel pretty gaslit.
They don't know me personally, so I don't know how they.
Right, but you spoke on them. You called them leftists on your stream with Melonie.
Right.
I'm just saying you also again, like, this is I said this to you earlier, and I really don't want to dogpile you. I know this is overwhelming, but like, you have an opportunity to. I agree. I forget his tag now because I'm having a pregnancy brain moment, but he said earlier on his stream with Nina that like he was telling you like you shouldn't keep delaying this, and like I think you're postponing your own sense of overwhelm by delaying it.
What he meant was like, don't delay addressing it, and that's what I'm doing today. And this was the soonest.
No, this is one. I'm definitely this is part of addressing it. If people are ready,
the soonest.
No, this is one. I'm definitely.
Let's try to move on. Lindsay DC.
No, I don't want to move on, Chrissy. You're collecting super chats.
You can have your own stream where you discuss this at length, Venti. Sneed Dave Williams, congrats on getting your own thread. I'll be attending your careers ending tomorrow night on Kick with PPP presiding. Thank you. I feel like you are bullying me right now.
He was like openly bragging about how people were gonna feel his wrath.
The only video that I ended up watching.
Well, it was trending for like 3 weeks.
Okay, that's great. But you know what's also trending is my fucking personal life and the shitstorm that is my dad being murdered and other stuff that I have spent so much time these last few days literally ignoring my toddler to the point where he's in tears and making a fucking fit. But mommy's got to get up in the quartering drama. So tough shit. Watch Sesame Street. And that's what we had to do these last few days. So again,
Chrissy, I'm really sorry that happened.
Like I did today.
This was reason she knew it was going to happen. She knew it was all over the internet. This has been trending for months. And I, like I said, I don't know, her whole argument about like, oh, I don't have to mention it goes out the window when you hear the things that TheQuartering is willing to go on live and say about her. So he's allowed to talk all the shit he wants about the people on his network. He's allowed to like, you know, reflect on, oh, well, like we wouldn't be sexually compatible because I don't like her boobs while she's on her honeymoon. Appearances are truth, so they say, and that maybe should be addressed. I think we can all agree he's like done the most fucked up shit here, and like anyway,
I was not expecting 1,000 oranges. I was not expecting 1,000 brooms, and
she might have thought you were okay with it. I don't know what's in Melonie's head, right?
Look,
but
deplatforming's not petty drama, and people in the chat who are saying this to you are not helping you right now. They're hurting you.
Yeah,
guys, I'm sorry. I don't know a lot about this, so I just don't really want to comment on it because I just don't really know. All I know is I stopped watching TheQuartering years ago. You know, I think when you first get into right-wing politics, Jeremy is there along the way, and then usually by the end of it, he's not there anymore. So that's all I really know about this.
Nobody watches him. That's why this thing has been a big deal, because literally people are just finding stuff now that they're digging, because literally, like, who was a TheQuartering fan? But So is it apology or not? That's what I want to know.
Who would you
at
like
this
me
point,
to apologize to? You personally?
Well, there's that, considering you lied to me, threw me under the bus, said I messaged you too late. So there's that part we talked
I
about.
didn't throw you under the bus, Brittany.
Fuck it. Call me a bully if you want, but you can't call me a liar.
They should be sending you all of their money.
I have to. So really quick, it wasn't a privacy complaint. It was that Jeremy had threatened to get his non-Indian YouTuber representative, to strike the Kino Casino. He said he would take everything, and then he was publicly endorsing it, and so it wasn't a privacy complaint.
Okay,
that's true.
And then also, it's not about like guilt by association. It's that Melonie was defending Jeremy's actions, not really addressing them, and then reframing it as, well, it's just because the hater trolls, SJWs, whatever, and people who had legitimate criticism, rightfully so, of him trying to deplatform people that you're co-hosted with on FNT, him coming for me and everybody else, that's wrong. And Melonie is essentially co-signing it and not really addressing it on stream and reframing it like it's just trolls. And I don't think it's fair to say that it's just guilt by association.
Yeah, it's definitely not. But she also, like, Melonie comes off extremely manipulative in this whole situation.
Well, as Chrissie said in the intro, she said that Melonie was kind of saying, oh, it's a nothing burger type of thing, versus, Nina had messaged Chrissie about it. She had the stream about it where Nina showed the screenshot of the tweet from Jeremy that said that he was coming for my scalp, Yellow Flash, and a few other people, and Chrissie's coworker, (S), more than one. But anyway, so Chrissie had seen this, and when I saw this, after I got off the phone with Chrissie, and she had gotten done telling me, like, well, I didn't know stuff, and then I see that stream where Nina is breaking the entire thing down, where, hey, like, Jeremy deplatformed people. Here's a screenshot of the tweet of him going after Brittany, Yellow Flash, and other people. And then it's like, well, I didn't know. It's like, well, in my opinion, to Chrissie, as I said on the phone to her, I think it was more than enough information. And I get and Chrissie is being honest when she's saying that she has a lot of in real life stuff going on. Like, I'm going to be honest and fair. She does. And obviously she doesn't want to like talk about it online. But anyway, so it's like this inconsistency. And it's like, one more thing. Specifically, Nina had sent a message to you.
I'm thinking I'm just talk to her about what I want to talk to her about, which is my conversion, which is not something I have to like research because I just went through it. And
but you said there was conflicting things, right? That Melonie was saying like, oh, it's a nothing burger, essentially, right? But Nina 2 weeks had told you otherwise. So if you're saying that you had her on anyway because there was a confliction, then that doesn't make sense to say that therefore you didn't know. But even if we did assume that, right, and it's like, you just didn't remember from 2 weeks ago, even though it's serious, like, I think that would be something to remember when he's saying he's going to go after me and he's already deplatformed people. I think that's on your responsibility, especially because we've known each other a long time and we worked together a long time, to take something like that seriously. And when Nina's telling you as your friend, so she even told you the day of, she told you before she had her on.
Into it, and one friend is saying it's a nothing burger. It's like that cancels each other out. Again,
no, I see what you're saying, but if you're saying that
I knew everything I knew now, and like putting all the dots together, and I have spent so much time these last few days literally ignoring my toddler to the point where he's in tears and making a fucking fit. But mommy's got to get up in the quartering drama, so tough shit. Watch Sesame Street, and that's what we had to do these last few days. So again,
Chrissie, I'm really sorry that happened.
Like I did today. Back then, it would have been a completely different interview.
But when you're saying stuff like that, it makes it sound like, well, dang, I have to like take accountability here. And it's like, you open the stream with, I was bullied into it. And I don't think anybody would want you to say anything you don't mean if you're bullied into this. Like, who's bullying you into this? And all I'm saying is that there was a conflict with Nina telling you about Melonie the day of in the message, hey, you're going to ask about Jeremy.
Yeah, I didn't see that
And
message
so there's
before
that.
I streamed with.
At the very least, you could say, like, you know, I'll let Melonie decide if it's too much for her, then we can do a different stream where we talk about this. That way there's transparency for everyone. Because D-Day Cobra said it best, like, the chat is the most important part of the stream. That's why we're here. It's what we do it for. So yeah, like, is there a better way to have handled that situation? I completely agree. I do understand how it looks, and appearances are truth, so they say. And that maybe should be addressed. I think we can all agree he's, like, done the most fucked up shit here, and, like, anyway.
So
Yeah.
why wasn't it a red flag for you when you have two conflicting things? Because you said you were thinking about the Nina thing, you're thinking about the Melonie thing. They're saying conflicting things. She's saying it's nothing burger. Nina's like, Chrissy, this is serious. Why is that not a red flag to look further into?
I mean, I know, like, Brittany, you're probably wishing, like, Chrissy, why didn't you handle this like I would have handled it? And, like, I wish I had your brain. I wish I had your talent for investigative journalism. I wish I had your talent for deep dives. It's why people love you, Venti. It's why you have a whole chat calling for you. It's because you're so good at what you do. And it's why you're fun to watch and you're entertaining and you're fun to have on stream. I can't go back and change anything. I can only try to illuminate what was going on with me at the time.
Right. So I understand you're saying there's your intent there, but obviously, like, there was a misstep. And when you're saying things like, hey, I'm being bullied into it, and, like, I'm apologizing for having Melonie on, it's not that people want you. I mean, maybe some trolls, but, like, it's not about, like, you having Melonie on. It's the fact that she was on and then given no pushback, as she is essentially co-signing and laughing with Jeremy. You know, she's replying to his tweet about them getting the platform.
Jeremy wasn't on.
Well, hold on. So on Twitter, when the Kino Casino got deplatformed off of YouTube because of Jeremy rallying for that and threatening to use his connections as a channel with 2 million subscribers, he posted a card that had, like, casino theme on it right after they got banned. It was the #1 trending thing. This is his job. He knows it's happening. He's been honed in on this for weeks at this point, arguing with them, going on drunken rampages, deleting stuff. He posts this card to taunt them, and then Melonie replies to it. So things like that are seen as her co-signing it, and she has not, even to this point, spoken up on her friend that, well, he pays her, so people have a problem with that too. And then she's not speaking up on the deplatforming. And so it's not, oh, well, I'm not going to apologize for not having a friend on. It's the fact there's no pushback, and the Kino Casino is not able to go on their YouTube and defend themselves. So that's why people wanted me on. And if you didn't want to have me on, then it should have probably been you that gave some pushback, considering that Nina had given you the rundown on stream. And it was enough to have some red flags. And even though it's a mistake on your end, like, there's still, like, mistakes made that should, if it were me, I would apologize. But
the only video that I ended up watching,
well, it was trending for like 3 weeks.
Okay, that's great. But you know what's also trending is my fucking personal life and the shitstorm that is my dad being murdered and other stuff that I don't want to get into. So sometimes
you don't have to.
Sometimes your 2-year-old does take precedent over the quartering drama, and I wish I could.
Yeah, but you're choosing to work, and your work is to be free speech. And then you platform.
My job is to be a mother. I stream to make diaper money, and again, I already said I dropped the ball. I don't know how many times I have to say that. I already said.
Well, you said you were bullied into it. That's the thing, Chrissy. I'm trying to point out to you that it feels inconsistent. You're saying, "Yay, hey, I dropped the ball," but hey, I'm also being bullied into it in the hostile chat, and then it feels like victimization, which is what Jeremy's been doing this whole time, which is why he had to delete his Twitter account today and run away.
And whether or not she intended for that to happen, you know, we'll live in a world where she wasn't being malicious, but, like, I think there's argument for the other end of that.
Oh yeah, Melonie should have known that would have happened for sure.
She knew. Yeah, no, I am going to sit down on that. Melonie would have known that drama would have followed her into that chat, despite how long in advance you had planned this. She's not going to address that. You know, come on, give me a break. I think that
that's the same reason people had quartering under fire for the bull and cuck stuff, because why are you bringing a swinger around your wife when you're branding off of being a Christian too. You know, his co-host's a Christian, Melonie, very, very much online talking about Christianity.
So Chrissy, when you're answering the chats for her, like I said, despite your intention, that's what's happening. That's what people are seeing. And
I was not expecting 1,000 oranges. I was not expecting 1,000 brooms. And
she might have thought you were okay with it. I don't know what's in Melonie's head, right?
Look,
but
but while the chat kept coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in,
and she knew
she
that
very much left you out to hang.
How could you not know, right? It's like, because of how bad Jeremy has to lock everything down. So I definitely agree. Like,
oh, do we freeze?
Okay, sorry.
Has anybody tried to like have a stream with Melonie where this stuff is specifically called out, or a stream with Jeremy where this?
Do you think she would do that? I don't think she would do that stream. I think if somebody, even in the neutral space, is like, yeah, I don't think so I really don't think she would. I think she would ignore it. I think she would, and then she, like I said, I think she knew that if she came on this chat, that stuff would follow her here, and she knew that you were a loyal friend, and I think that was extremely manipulative on her part, and I stand by that, because fundamentally it's like, okay, I actually know you like IRL for a large extent. We've spoke for a long time. We've shared a lot of personal stuff together, and do I think that you are a person at the end of the day who has malicious intention? Absolutely not. Do we all fumble and do things that are come off wrong, and you can add 100 pieces together and try to make it whatever it is, but I don't think the intention or the root of your intention has ever been malicious towards anyone. And I think that Melonie knew coming in people were going to flood the chat, and she knew that you were a person who would be willing to stand up for her. And then when as it kept getting worse, she was just sitting there like.
And my
how was your weekend? I don't work for the quartering. I don't know what that means. Like, don't make me take out my triangle. I brought it.
And in that moment, I thought, well, it seems like she has explained everything she has to explain. It seems like she's talked about this all she wants to.
The fact of the matter is, were mistakes made? Sure, that's absolutely the case. Melonie is being extremely manipulative. Jeremy has been caught saying and doing disgusting things. And it's not like that's changed. It's not like, oh, well, it's post conversion. After conversion, you're still talking about your co-host boobs and why that makes her unfuckable. So excuse me, it's just like, we're not buying it, and everybody else, and she is directly covering for that, and she's saying, well, I don't have to comment, like, maybe on some of this stuff, the network you're working with, like, maybe you should have something to say about it.
Yeah,
and while you're right that she definitely has some accountability, like, there's still responsibility on Chrissy too, though, as a host, to research, and especially when there's a red flag that pops up, and Chrissy's saying she didn't do it perfectly, but there's so many things along the way, which is Nina tells you right before you have Melonie on, and there's a bunch of hours between that. You're informed 2 weeks prior, so it's like it's your responsibility as a host, even if you're busy, your child, and of course you're a mother first, but at the end of the day, the chat's still giving you money, whether you want to say it's your job or not. They're the ones still giving you money as a free speech platform. So to have Melonie on, and she's covering for Jeremy and him deplatforming people, it's not good. And it's not good to say that you're bullied into this and that the chat's hostile, because it's valid criticism.
Well, it was very hostile.
So I want to know who's bullying you.
Yeah. Well, not having. I would have maybe leaned on Melonie more to answer the questions too.
I'm sure people in there were incendiary, but it makes it seem like victimization. Mm-hmm. So I want to know who is bullying. Who is bullying you to do this? Because you opened with, hey, I'm being bullied into this, and it makes it seem like everything else you say is not legitimate.
I don't know. There's very much a call for me to talk about this stuff. Are you kidding me?
Well, can you imagine if I didn't? That's not bullying, though.
Can you imagine if I just didn't bring this up? How bad that would
be.
But
that just sounds like you're doing it to just do it instead of doing it because you realize there's an error in what you did, that you're informed about it.
I was never wanting to talk about the quartering's drama.
But But that conflicts with your brand, your free speech. You profit off
Why
of
are
being
you
free
telling me what
speech,
my
and you have to
brand
be
is,
on.
Brittany? I'm just trying to explain that I had Melonie on
Well,
to
correct
talk
me if
about
I'm
my
wrong.
conversion, and I had her on to talk about her wedding. What does that have to do with Jeremy's drama? It's Melonie
Because
is
she
not
co-signed
Jeremy's keeper,
deplatforming,
but I
and you were
didn't
told
know
this by Nina.
It's almost like you're not listening to what I'm saying. I didn't know Melonie.
I am.
Of course, after the fact, this is all coming together.
Right, but it was trending for 3 weeks. You have multiple red flags. You have to take time out to research
it as I was 2 years ago.
But do you see how that sounds like a lack of accountability? Because it's like, well, I'm just here because I had to be. That's how it comes across.
No, I have this show every Sunday at 9:00.
Well, yeah, because it is about platforming, and unfortunately, Kino Casino can't be here to address it because Jeremy removed them, and as well as flagging other people and your co-host. He came for your co-host as well from FNT. Well, it seems like
I think
when you have Melonie on, and she's sweeping for it by not acknowledging it repeatedly, and you say, well, hey, I'm not here to talk about that with Melonie. Well, look how it turned out. And it's a conflict of interest because you're having someone that's helping getting people that me, your co-host, other people. She's co-signing them getting deplatformed. And for all we know, this stream could go down too because of it.
She was pretending also that there was no every mention of him possibly being involved in the flagging was like a conspiracy theory, likened to the SJWs spreading lies to get people deplatformed. And that was just not the case. He was openly bragging about how people were gonna feel his wrath.
Here's the thing, Chrissie's point of contention with that is that, well, she didn't know that Melonie was connected with that. But my point of contention with that is that, and it's not about paying for the sins of friends. Melonie herself did something wrong as a content creator that is supposed to be pro free speech. And by platforming her and her sweeping under the rug and it not being pressed, because you didn't press her on it despite Nina giving you information on him deplatforming. So that's what needs to be acknowledged. And it just feels like it keeps turning into my toddler, which of course Chrissie is a mom and she should prioritize that. But it comes to a point where it's like, okay, well, you have to pick a lane. If you can do the job, then do the job when you need to press someone about deplatforming, because otherwise it turns into this. And I think that needs to be acknowledged instead of.
Okay.
She thought
your job is to research, though, especially about deplatforming.
I think I just explained how I didn't have time to research and I have a lot going on.
Melonie can be disingenuous.
Melonie should have said
Melonie can be disingenuous. We agree she didn't handle it right. But the responsibility isn't all on only Melonie. This is Chrissie's show, and she had Melonie on. People are super chatting. And then there comes the thing about me joining to give some pushback. Chrissie was open to it, seemingly. And then she said, well, hey, Brittany sent me a reply too late, but I don't. And she said in the intro here, too, that by that time, she wanted to wrap it up. But I think 40 minutes is more than enough time for if she wanted to have me on.
I didn't know how long the show was going to go on for. I was trying to wrap it up, and then I was like, holy crap.
Well, you're the host.
And then it took that much longer to finish.
You're the host, though.
Hold on. Let me not ignore the chat because I did that last time. Kentucky Tim, thank you for the super chat. Brittany needs to mind her own business. Mel Biz is her own. Chrissie's is her own. Troublemaking middle schooler mentality by both Kim and Britt. Friends stand behind each other without pulling knives. Shame on both of you. Thank you, Tim.
Friends make sure that they keep each other not doing immoral things, and
friends hold each other accountable. So
and that's what Melonie hasn't done, for example, and that's why people are mad.
Hydracool.
And you're free to do whatever you want with the super chat. They're saying to each their own. You're free to do it, of course, but here's the thing. People can also choose to give money or not if they see someone that's for free speech fighting for it, and then they are platforming someone who is supporting that and then not giving pushback when they know that the quartering, her boss, is going after me and your co-host. And it just feels, it feels dishonest. That's why people have this criticism. It's not about the sins of somebody else or having Melonie on. It's the fact that there is no pushback, and the Kino Casino can't even fight back their own battle.
First time super chatting anyone, let alone anyone on FNT. Out of all the gay drama on FNT, this is by far the gayest. Chrissie didn't do anything wrong. It's not your responsibility to keep up with everyone's brain dead drama. This isn't a cult. First of all, yes, it is my responsibility to keep up with everyone's brain dead drama. Thank you, though. Zato.
Well, this isn't brain dead drama. This is about platform. I don't like that
Yeah.
dismissal. This is about deplatforming. Like,
I
this
know.
isn't just brain dead drama. Of course, I know the quartering's brain dead, but
Yeah, saying you're literally, because it wasn't even just that they got flagged. It was his entire thing about, like, I'm going to take everything that you have. Like, excuse me?
that's
Who
a
the fuck
threat.
are you?
That is a
well, I want to hear
horrible.
Chrissie.
your threat. Zato.
So
Kino Casino,
is
that's the
this
hell.
brain dead drama?
Andy Warski and his father, retard friend, shitting on people. That's the hill. Brittany, thank you, Zato. And again,
But I need to know, is this considered brain dead drama, or is it, hey, like, there's a legitimate thing about platforming and not just deplatforming whoever criticizes?
Platforming is not okay. People are allowed to criticize. You know, it's I've never said that deplatforming is good or that we should be continuing.
But
that.
it feels dismissive when you're reading the super chat and you're like, yeah, well, it
because
is my
I'm
job to
trying
keep
to
up
get
brain
through
dead
them all,
drama.
Like I said, I'm not trying to make this the whole show, and I do want to get through these, and I do feel like I went over a lot of this. Chad
Didn't
Wellington.
that guy also refer to it that way? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what he wrote. Chad Wellington. Melonie is the epitome of a snake.
Well, she agreed with it. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Away
Yeah, I
from
was just trying to.
So I have a question. What would you have done differently? Genuine question. I think people want to know.
If I knew everything today, that if I could go back in time, you're saying?
Yeah. How would you have handled it? Because you said you don't regret having Melonie on. So what would you have done?
A fair question.
I would have said, gosh, I would say, do you feel like the fact that you are an employee of Jeremy's keeps you from being, or I don't know, do you think it's a conflict of interests? Because knowing that all this drama is going on and he's your boss, do you feel like that keeps you from honestly criticizing or commenting on what's going on? I think I would point to the fact that, like, hey, like, there is money involved here. You're on the payroll, and we see you also not being, calling this out, or like, yeah, if I had these tweets of like, here you are supporting it, here you are laughing this off, here you are, do you like this reaction has anything to do with the fact that you work for him?
Like, you would have said this publicly with her, or like in private?
You're asking how I would do the interview differently.
So
I'm asking how you would have did it in general differently.
Yeah, I would have mentioned, like, yeah, you're an employee, and do you think that affects your ability to comment on this?
Yeah. I just, my point of contention here is just, I see this is on Twitter for 3 weeks, happening for three weeks. Chrissie, I know you said you're busy, but at the end of the day, you're getting paid for this. It is your job. Being a mom's also your job. And, people told you multiple times, and you say, well, I would have done it differently if I knew. But to me, it seems like you did know, especially when you say, for example, hey, like, I can't have you on. I'm busy wrapping. I wanted to wrap this up. I don't want to ambush Melonie. Well, in a way, Melonie, like, is omitting things, and she's bringing all of the chat stuff with her. So, I mean, it's questionable to call it an ambush, though I could understand. But, like, normally you just send me the link.
I'm saying the style of having one guest on,
which is what I normally do. I have one guest on, and I have one conversation with them, and it just goes back and forth like this. And then to suddenly bring on a new guest that was not advertised, that was not part of the plan, that I consider to be like an ambush or like a gotcha, like
surprise.
Well, then why on stream would you say, hey, like, I'm waiting for a text from Brittany, and then I text you and it's 40 minutes, and then on my end it says that you saw it by 11:40. It showed the scene receipt. And so in my perspective, you did see it, and there's all these other things showing that you saw it. And so it's like, it's either, hey, I just didn't want to because I didn't want to ambush her, or I genuinely didn't see it. And I saw the red receipt, and I showed that when I was talking to Nina, because she was asking, where am I? I'm like, well, she saw it.
Brittany. I don't think you did anything wrong. I think you covered this so thoroughly. So it sounds like you're like, it maybe sounds like you're getting defensive. You don't feel defensive at all. Again, nobody should be.
Well, I feel lied to, Chrissie. So I am, because I feel lied to. I feel like I'm being told that, hey, well, one thing, I didn't want to have you on. Then the other is, oh, well, I didn't see it, but I saw the red receipt by like 11:40, and I had messaged Nina about it, and I showed this on stream as well.
I was trying to wrap the stream up again. Like I try to not go more than 90 minutes on my interviews. I just think like
right.
and at
But
that
which
point, it had
which
been,
is
like,
it? Is it
after
that you didn't
midnight,
see
and I was
it?
like, it's late, and I'm, I think that makes sense.
But is it that you didn't see it, or that you didn't want to Melonie to feel ambushed? Because it's like it says you saw it, and Frank said it wasn't him that opened the message. He was busy upstairs with your toddler when we were talking on the phone. So I feel lied to, especially after seeing the Nina stuff. And then I'm getting done off the phone with you, and you're saying like, well, thank you for explaining to me, but you knew a lot of this stuff already. And I just feel like deceived as somebody who's worked with you so long. And I don't feel like you're taking accountability.
I'm sorry that you feel that way, Brittany. Again, like how I handled the stream poorly is no reflection on you. And I'm even just doing this.
As we discussed, you kind of framed it that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you got hurt. I'm sorry if like I explained to you on the phone. Like this is a real shitstorm, and I stepped in a real pile of shit, and it's been a really bad week for me. And I'm it seems like a lot of people have sort of been like caught in the crossfires of this. So you're not
really responding to what I'm saying. Yeah, I understand that, but I'm asking you like, hey, then why was there a red receipt by like 11:40 if you didn't see it? And I'm not getting like, as somebody who okay, let's try to resolve this. Like I need honesty, and I'm asking you, why are you saying you didn't see it, but there was the red receipt?
Yeah, I'm sorry you feel hurt by that. I think it was just too late in the stream. I was trying to wrap it up. And
so did you see it, yes or no? That's what I want to know, to be honest. I didn't want her
to feel ambushed.
So you did see it.
By the time I was wrapping the stream.
So yeah.
Okay. So because I need honesty to like have the conversation. So
I know.
Okay, so she saw it. My problem is it makes me look bad when she's saying I messaged her too late when there's 40 minutes.
You don't. I'm sorry if you feel like my I'm sorry if my stream is making you look bad. To explain what was going on with me and how I dropped the ball, and I don't think it is, I'm sorry you were hurt by it. So I don't know how many times I have to apologize for you feeling, for you being hurt
you lied. It. So there's that. So how can we proceed when I'm telling you that you saw it and I saw you saw it, and then you claim you didn't see me asking for the link?
Brittany, I was looking for you to respond for a while. All right.
Well, I don't appreciate being lied to, and it's like people are here, they want to hear your side of it, but you open saying I'm being bullied, and then it's like there's lies.
Well, I mean, it
comes across as victimization. I want to hear from Chrissie. I'm talking to her.
I'm not trying to say I'm a victim. I'm just trying to.
Then who's bullying you? Like you should clarify.
I'm just trying to explain at this time.
But who bullied you? You said you were bullied into this,
and then like you are bullying me right now by asking me the same question 10 times in a row.
I feel like the Kino Casino was bullied by being deplatformed by Jeremy, and then Mel getting to lie on your stream, and then you lying about it.
The Kino Casino should get their platform and their show and their channel back.
But that doesn't sound genuine, Chrissie, when you're platforming Mel, who's denying that Quartering even did this. But how does that sound genuine? And then you're lying.
I did not associate Jeremy's fuck ups with Melonie.
But Nina literally told you.
I feel like we've gone over this so many times.
But why am I to believe you if you already were lying about seeing the message in the first place? So you have to kind of prove what you're saying. I can't assume that you're telling the truth at this point. And I don't think I'm bullying you. I think that you're being fairly pressed based on a free speech platform of hosting someone on here that was anti-free speech. And this isn't right that I get thrown under the bus for it and told that I messaged too late and lied on. You admitted to lying. I've helped you for how many years, Chrissie?
You're a very good friend and an even better streamer. I don't think that no one should be giving you crap for anything.
But you're telling me I'm bullying you, so apparently they should, no?
I'm saying
because
in
I'm
this
asking
moment,
questions about you lying, and now I'm the
I
bully.
think she's just saying
and that's
she's
not
feeling
victimization?
overwhelmed.
I'm just saying you're, and I didn't expect you to like.
Because I'm upset that you lied, and then you're calling me a bully after. How am I supposed to accept any sort of apology? How's anybody at this point? Fuck it, call me a bully if you want, but you can't call me a liar.
They should be sending you all of their money. Okay. How's your weekend? This week, apology was brought to you by Coffee Brand Coffee. Very funny. Let's see. Sneed Dave Williams, as a Catholic, will you continue to platform porn stars? Why did you lie about not knowing the drama? Why did you say Jesus supports flagging? I never said Jesus supports flagging. Why did you lie about not knowing the drama? Jesus himself associated with sinners, and if I were to just platform people who have never sinned, I would have very few guests. Let's see.
But he also gave pushback.
Sneed Dave Williams, congrats on getting your own thread. I'll be attending your careers ending tomorrow night on Kick with PPP presiding. Thank you. The dude, having Mel on your stream isn't the issue, and stop gaslighting that it ever was. Ignoring, disrespecting, and lying to your chat is the source of all the anger. Thank you, dude. I understand where this is coming from. At the time, I was just overwhelmed by all the insults, and it was pretty vile. So it was hard for me to put that
they
aside.
were bullying.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read these. Tragically seen, these trolls are insufferable. This obsession these people have with some petty drama between two people is legitimately deranged.
Deplatforming petty.
They're showing how
deplatforming is not petty drama, and people in the chat who are saying this to you are not helping you right now. They're hurting you.
Yeah.
This is a free speech platform, apparently, so it shouldn't be petty.
Again, I'm not forcing anyone to send me money. Please don't feel like you can willingly send money or not. Again, people can listen to this show for free. If someone were to eavesdrop,
right, and they
this,
can also
then
have
super chat that
pushback as
person.
well.
Yeah, that's why you're here, Brittany. Cherry, how was your week?
Yeah, but I'm being called a bully for it. I'm apparently like
I think
I'm
she said
asking
she
pretty
felt
fair questions.
bullied.
I've been more than fair. She said she felt like I'm bullying her, and she's calling people
did say she
SJWs
felt
for
bullied.
giving pushback.
Well,
I do think that is disingenuous. The SJW thing, and I mentioned this. I commented on that thread. To the insinuation there being like DJ Cobra, Kino Casino, all them, or just SJWs. Like, no, like this is like Jeremy's like bragging about fucking with people's livelihood for like bringing up drama when like so much of his channel is drama. And unfortunately, Chrissy, like you're being sucked into that tornado right now, and a lot of the stuff just didn't look good. There is stuff that probably should get talked about, and if the chat wants to talk about it, we can. And I think it's better to just like go through it and get it like like people want to feel acknowledged. And I agree with, like I said in the beginning with DJ Cobra, like the chat is the important part of this. And Brittany, like I would feel some kind of way too, because you were personally targeted by this, so it makes sense that like you want to push back. But yeah, I would say, just like as kind of a side observer and somewhat of a contributor right now, like just acknowledge, we'll just go through it. You guys can talk about it. I'll comment in whenever. But everybody here's got a right to how they feel, regardless of the intention behind it, because the results were very much, what we're dealing with.
Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know a lot about this, so I just don't really want to comment on it because I just don't really know. All I know is I stopped watching The Quartering years ago. I think when you first get into right-wing politics, Jeremy is there along the way, and then usually by the end of it, he's not there anymore. So that's all I really know about
Yeah, nobody
this.
watches him. That's why this thing has been a big deal, because literally people are just finding stuff now that they're digging, because literally, like, who was a Quartering fan? But Yeah, I want to say, like, overall, I just don't think that this should be equated to like, hey, I need to attend my kid, therefore I can't keep track of stuff that's relevant to deplatforming in my job and stuff. It doesn't mean therefore Chrissie has to neglect her kid. And I don't think it's being unfair to say these things or ask questions or have criticisms about what went down. Because I thought, like, what is the point in the stream otherwise? What is the point?
Because I think she's obviously overwhelmed.
Well, I'm asking Chrissie, what's the point of the stream?
Like I figured talking to Melonie about my
but that
conversion.
Doesn't really sound like an apology. It sounds like an explanation.
You asked me a question, then you interrupt me. That's not fair. I do more streams.
It's an explanation, though. It's the same thing you already said.
Are you here to interrupt me, or do you want to listen?
I have lag. No, there's lag. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, again, that's not an apology. That's an explanation. That's, hey, I have stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it's not really like an apology for having deplatforming on. And then it's getting called bullied and SJWs. Like, how can you be on this platform that you make money off of and be free speech and say that? But you know, people have the free will to super chat. They're going to super chat in and ask about it.
So that's why I was completely overwhelmed when that all came in.
But that's still not, it's not an excuse still. It's just an explanation. It's like, yeah, all these things are happening.
People can believe what they want.
Only for context explain.
People can
non-apology.
And think, Brittany, if you're going to keep interrupting me, I don't see how that's productive.
So is it apology or not? That's what I want to know.
Who would you like me to apologize to? You personally?
Well, there's that, considering you lied to me, threw me under the bus, said I messaged you too late. So there's that part we talked about.
I didn't throw you under the bus, Brittany. I didn't.
You said I messaged you too late. 40 minutes is not too late, and you lied about not seeing it.
Brittany, at the time, it was too late for me. I was trying to wrap the show up.
But you lied and said you didn't see it.
I feel like you're obsessing about this particular point, and that's not.
It's so if you're lying, it's obsessing. If I point out that you are lying, I'm the bully, and that's obsessing.
Okay, let's try to move on. Lindsay, DC.
No, I don't want to move on, Chrissie. You're collecting super chats.
You can have your own stream where you discuss this at length, Venti, because I feel like I have addressed it.
You really haven't. You're saying it's explanation, not an apology at all. For your own co-host was affected by this. How can you call yourself free speech? And this is just an explanation, not an apology for anything.
This is not about.
But Lena told you otherwise twice.
And Melonie told me it was not a big deal in a nothing burger.
Yeah, and that's a red flag, which means you should look into it. And also, again, you lied to me. So yes, I do expect an apology for you lying on me.
I don't think like you. I am not inside your head with you. You are not inside my head with me.
Okay, so this pretty much clarifies that this is about what I would do and not what was right to do. So lying to me was right to do.
It seems like you're upset because I didn't handle this the
way
you would.
How could you tell?
She has a right to feel that way. So again, like,
yeah, I'm sorry, Venti, if you felt like you were gonna come on and then you didn't. Like you were all hyped to come on, and then
if I felt like,
I'm sorry that you were hyped to come on, and then you didn't come on. Like you were,
but it wasn't just the hyped, Chrissie. It's the fact that you're like, okay, hey, I'm checking my text for her. I'll let her on, and both of you seem like you were fine with having me on, and then you lied.
No, how would you know that Melonie was okay with having me on? You weren't speaking with her.
Well, because on the stream she was nodding her head and smiling and acting like she was okay.
Nodding her head? You think she was okay? She didn't know that you had.
And you could have said she wasn't.
You think
you could have said that she wasn't?
Not because she was nodding her head. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
I'm not going to be gaslit and be called schizophrenic for this. People told you they wanted me on. They spammed the chat. You said, okay, you know what? I'm going to have her on. Where's her message? I send you the message. And Melonie, as you're saying this, is like smiling and nodding her head. At no point during this entire time before you end the stream did you say, hey, Melonie doesn't want you on or anything. You just followed up afterward and said, I didn't want to ambush her.
Right. I was focusing on my guest. I'm sorry I didn't bring you on, Venti. I guess I should have stopped reading the chats and had you on so that you could say to her what you wanted to say. Instead, I wanted to wrap up my show and get through the super chats and try to figure out what the hell just happened.
This was reason. She knew it was going to happen. She knew it was all over the internet. This has been trending for months. And I, like I said, I don't know, her whole argument about like, oh, I don't have to mention it goes out the window when you hear the things that TheQuartering is willing to go on live and say about her. So he's allowed to talk all the shit he wants about the people on his network. He's allowed to like, you know, reflect on, oh, well, like we wouldn't be sexually compatible because I don't like her boobs while she's on her honeymoon. Do yourself more of a favor if you just like let them say their piece instead of like bringing this up later. Like we were sitting there waiting to just come on and say our thing. It's only going to be worse in the end. So
their clips channel is, and then Andy Warski's personal channel.
I was
Okay.
going to say Andy Warski's
They allow you to
personal and
feature people.
So it seems
censorship.
like you want me to have my channel terminated by having them on, because I feel like that's the
I'd be willing to look up right now whether a terminated person is allowed to just make an appearance on another person's stream. I'd be willing to bet that that's not what the TOS says.
I read it, but
shouldn't be forced to have, you know, I
don't think it's a matter of course. I'm telling you that it's a good idea. I'm telling you that like putting it off, it's not smart right now.
Okay.
I genuinely believe that. And I see overwhelm and I understand that, but do you want me to look it up? I'm happy to.
well, Chrissy, you haven't really been 100% honest. So it's hard to move on.
No, a person permanently banned, terminated from YouTube cannot appear on another channel. YouTube's policy states that termination applies to the person, not just the channel. And featuring a banned user
can I see
a new
is Ashton banned? Because then Ashton can just, if it was just Warski's personal, because they also banned. Yeah, I mean that's where I watched any of this. That's how I know anything of what's going on. I was listening to all this in the background, and their stuff was on YouTube. So,
Ashton's not banned. Andy is, and their editor's clip channel is, but Ashton is not banned.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think I might.
So is there a problem with that? If it doesn't get you banned?
I'm not going to have them on tonight. It's not something I plan to do. There's already so much. There's already like too much show here, and I'm going to have to probably do a whole nother stream just to go over the super chats. So, and so I'm going to probably just end it here. I feel like I, said everything I want to say. Thank you. Thank you, Cherry, for thank you guys for coming on, and appreciate you guys hearing me out. Again, make your own conclusions. Thank you guys.